Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. I'm KP, and here today we're going to be running through another NXT recap here. This week's edition of the show is the 24th of February edition, so we're going to break down everything that took place across the course of the night, and go from start to finish. So, first and foremost, we will be kicking things off with the NXT Tag Team Championship matchup, which took place between the Vanity Project and Dark State. So Dark State have held the titles for some time now. This is Vanity Project's first opportunity to try and take those titles from the group, and they were actually successful in their first ever try. It's their third win in a row since coming up from Evolve, and they've been firing on all cylinders since coming over to NXT. It's been quite the remarkable start here for these two guys, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, accompanied by Jackson Drake. And it would be a pretty fun tag team match as we've had to kick off the show. We see the match sort of coming to a head when Sugars hits a missile drop kick onto Brad Baylor. But as he's gone for the cover and he's looking to get the 1-2-3, Jackson Drake puts Baylor's foot on the ropes. That allows a distraction to take place there, and Drake sort of like distracts both Cutler James and Dion Lennox, leading to Tony D'Angelo appearing out of seemingly nowhere from the crowd, and he hits Sugars with a spine buster onto the apron. With Sugars laid out, he just gets rolled back into the ring, and Baylor is sort of like staggered on the outside as well, nearby Tony. Tony basically just rolls Brad Baylor back in as well, and Baylor just literally falls onto the cover over on Sugars, and the referee just simply counts to 3, and whether Brad Baylor knew it or not, he wins the Tag Team Championships on behalf of himself and the Vanity Project. So, yeah, brand new Tag Team Champions kick off the show here. Quite the interesting start. Pretty good contest, to be fair, from both teams. Thoroughly pretty eventful beginning here, especially for Vanity Project. Like I said, their third win in a row, and they've been quality since coming up to NXT, so fair play to them. New NXT Tag Team Champions crowned. Speaking of more Evolve stuff after that, we would have two guys who have basically been on Evolve since the very beginning of the show's rebirth, and that would be Keanu Carver taking on Super Sean Legacy. But basically these two having a chance to go one-on-one here and to show what they're capable of. Unfortunately for Sean, didn't really get much of a chance to prove that because this was quite largely dominated by Keanu Carver. It was pretty impressive of a performance here from the big man. And after a few minutes, wouldn't be too long this one, it was quite a quick contest. We would see Keanu Carver hit a pounce onto Legacy before then following up with a vertical suplex power slam style maneuver, and that would be enough for Carver to put away Sean and to pick up the 1-2-3. So if there ever was a void that was needing to be filled after Obafemi had left, I mean, maybe Keanu Carver's the kind of guy that can step up to that plate. You know, he's very big, very powerful, very assertive with the way he goes about his business in the ring. So I'd see bits of Obafemi in Keanu Carver. So yeah, maybe this could be the start of something good for him. You know, he's got a lot of room to work with and improvement to make, but this is a good start. So yeah, big victory here over Sean Legacy. Puts a man of Evolve behind him, and we see what's next for Carver after this. But decent one-on-one matchup and a very strong case for Carver. You know, looking very, very strong with this contest. Moving on from then, we would have a Speed Championship tournament matchup. This would be the final. This has to be for the championship itself. A triple threat for the first time in the tournament's history. This will see Ilya Lafleur taking on Eli Knight, as well as Jasper Troy, the current Speed champion. This one would have a 7-minute time limit. That was announced by Robert Stone the week beforehand because it was a triple threat contest, so got a little bit of special treatment here. And it did need the little bit more extra time rather than just the 5 minutes that's normally in the case for Speed Championship contests. Basically, the match comes to a head at the end of the contest where we see Ilya Lafleur hit Jasper Troy with his corkscrew leg drop style maneuver. It's a really, really fascinating move. The way he sort of like gets the traction and just gets the height is impressive. Drops down Jasper, and then we see just out of absolutely nowhere Eli Knight just hitting a beautiful moonsault off the top rope. But the way he sort of like lands on Jasper Troy, he actually bounces off of him, and his momentum carries him inside the middle of the ring. And Elio is literally right next to Jasper, so simply just goes over into the cover, and he just about has enough time to get the 1-2-3, and that would see not only a brand new Speed champion crowned, but Ilya Lafleur taking advantage of Eli Knight's, latest bit of offense there with that moonsault. So yeah, big victory here for Ilya Lafleur. He's only been on NXT for about a month or so now, but yeah, he's picked up championship gold already, so quite impressive from Elio. Going into our next matchup then, I say our next matchup, this wasn't much of a contest here. This will be for the NXT Women's Championship, so JC Jane taking on solruca. I say it wasn't much of a contest because just before the match is about to begin, the entrances have taken place and the announcements are happening. We then see Zaria, who stood side by side with solruca, simply just spear Sol down onto the canvas. JC Jane and Fatal Influence, look on absolutely shocked and bewildered, almost like a bit speechless. And then Zaria picks solruca up, hits her with an F6, and then leaves her in the ring for the referee to kick the match off. JC Jane, not taking any sort of liberties here, absolutely capitalizes and pounces on the situation, hits a rolling encore immediately once the bell rings, as solruca is sort of like in a standing position, and just goes down into a pinfall immediately and gets the 1-2-3. So the match probably took all of about 5-6 seconds, I want to say, if that. And yeah, Zaria just really finally getting the job done here, stepping up the solruca, and yeah, just I guess just putting the friendship behind them, which has been a long time coming. So it's good to see Zaria finally taking this step, and I was smiling when it was happening. So yeah, it's been a long time we waited for this moment, but it was good. It was well done. And yeah, solruca obviously unsuccessful here with JC Jane, pick up the win and still your NXT Women's Champion. Once that was all said and done, we were going to our second half of NXT here, and we would see Tatum Paxley in the crowd cut a little bit of a promo, quite short this one, wasn't a long one, basically talking about seeking love throughout her life. She says that throughout all of her loneliness, she's learnt to listen to the fans who wanted her as just herself, claiming she knows now what it's like to be loved. She says that when she beats Izzy Dame at Vengeance Day, it'll be for the fans as well as, a personal accolade for herself. That then spawns Izzy Dame onto the scene. She starts coming through the crowd, looking to square up to Paxley, but it's sort of held back as Blake Monroe makes her entrance down ahead of her upcoming match immediately after this. So that will go into our next matchup, which will be for the Women's Speed Championship Tournament. This is a first round qualifier. We see Blake Monroe taking on Thea Hale. This is the first matchup as well. We got the second first round qualifier next week as well. So literally the first of the tournament, the brand new one. This one would go pretty much as expected here. Thea Hale and Blake Monroe, yeah, they've got a bit of history together, so it did start off quite anger-fueled, I guess you could say. Blake Monroe's in the ring, Thea Hale comes down, and Thea doesn't really do her entire entrance. She basically storms into the ring. The two have a bit of a brawl to begin with, and then the match immediately starts straight away. As the matchup is going forward, though, we see sort of Thea Hale kind of distracting the referee after a bit of a separation between her and Blake Monroe from the ropes. Blake's at ringside for this situation, and once the referee is distracted by Thea dealing with her, we see Jada Parker appear out of seemingly nowhere, and she hits a hypnotic onto Blake Monroe, laying her out onto the floor, and then rolling her back into the ring straight afterwards. Hale hits quite a really nice, actually, rolling net breaker, beautifully perfected, and yeah, goes for the cover immediately afterwards, gets the 1-2-3, and books her spot in the semi-final of the Speed tournament. So she will take on the winner of next week's matchup, which will be Nikita Lyons or Ren Sinclair. But yeah, Blake Monroe and Jada Parker clearly not done yet, as expected, and yeah, that heated feud sort of continues. But Thea Hale with another win over Blake Monroe, it's just not looking good for Blake right now against Thea Hale in these recent matches. Coming up after that, we'd have a 1-on-1 matchup in the men's division. This would see former Chase U buddies Uriah Connors taking on Kale Dixon. Obviously, Uriah now in that sort of new faction-esque style group with Lexus King and the likes. And yeah, it would be a pretty good performance from both men here. Quite back and forth, quite competitive between the two men. But it would be a victory in the end for Uriah Connors of that new sort of stable that we've been seeing. And Dixon looks for a moonsault. It's quite a nice moonsault, to be fair, that Dixon's got on him. But as he sort of like goes to get the landing, Connors gets his feet up and sort of connects with the face of Dixon. And then Connors takes advantage of the situation afterwards, lowers down his knee pad before hitting a really staggering running knee to the face of Kale, and that'll be enough for Uriah to pick up the victory in this 1-on-1 matchup. So it is the guy who sort of moved on to other ventures here that gets the victory. I guess you could say that maybe, the grass is greener on the other side for Uriah Connors at this point, with a victory over his former Chase U buddy, Kale Dixon. But yeah, the group seems to be getting some traction so far, and a win here is pretty important for Connors. Then we'd go into our main event after that. This would see a 1-on-1 matchup take place between Miles Bourne and Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. Ethan Page would demand that he would be declared as the greatest North American champion from Mike Rome as this one was about to take place. Obviously having broken records of the most defenses and the longest reigning championship run as well. So, kudos to Page on the run that he has up until this point. because it would end here in this matchup. So we'd see Miles Bourne win the championship, but it wouldn't be without hook or crook, because there would be a lot of interference toward the end. After a pretty competitive back and forth matchup, this one was probably the longest matchup of the night, I would say. But either way, regardless, it was a pretty good matchup between both men. And we see at the very end of the contest, Vanity Project coming into the situation. They said earlier in the night they were going to be playing a part in this matchup and helping Ethan Page retain. And they did exactly what they tried to do. They came down to the aid of Ethan, distracted the referee, before then Jackson Drake smashes his Evolved Men's Championship over the face of Miles Bourne. Bourne does kick out of the preceding cover before Hank and Tank and Shiloh Hill come onto the scene dealing with Vanity Project. With all 6 of them gone now from the situation, we then see Ricky Saints appear, and he sort of heads to the top rope immediately. He's immediately, though, dragged off by Joe Hendry, and that exposes the top turnbuckle as Ricky Saints is dragging his way down from the ropes. And then that allows them to sort of like deal with each other and to see them off out of the situation. That leaves then Miles Bourne and Ethan Page. Page ends up going face first into that exposed turnbuckle after a little bit back and forth with Miles Bourne, and that gives Miles a perfect opportunity to hit Bourne again for the second time in the contest, and this time it would be for the win, as he would capture that NXT North American Championship. So the reign of Ethan Page does come to an end, but honestly, it was a fantastic reign. It was really, really fun. Ethan's best work since coming onto the WWE and NXT scene, and yeah, just thoroughly impressed with what I saw from Ethan during this whole run. It's just fantastic. But Miles Bourne, he's been working really, really hard. One of the top performers, I think, in the men's division on NXT, so he absolutely deserves some championship gold. I think now is the right time with Ethan just breaking a couple of records. So yeah, no complaints as far as I'm concerned. Just yeah, all positives all around from me personally speaking. But good main event and great moment for Miles Bourne, celebrating with his family in the crowd as well. Yeah, it's a good moment for him. But for this episode of NXT, that's basically all that we have to go through in terms of what took place. Pretty solid show. A lot going down here, some really fun matches, some good stories being told, rivalries continuing, and yeah, some really breakout moments, talking the likes of, 3 championships changing hands here. Almost felt like a title NXT today here, with only one title actually staying in the same hands, but even that came with a big asterisk, because massive sort of twist there from Zaria taking out solruca before the match took place. So yeah, it was just a content-filled NXT, really, really fun, lots of stuff going down, and loads to take away from this one. In terms of big moments. In terms of the show itself, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Just absolutely solid from start to finish. Really thoroughly enjoyable. Yeah, made for a great watch. But for now, everybody, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. If you guys have all enjoyed this recap, then please let us know in the comments what you're thinking, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. We'd love to hear what you're thinking. Any feedback is appreciated. And also let us know if you like this one by hitting like on our video and subscribing to our channel. We'd love to hear, that people are sort of enjoying our content, and any like and subscribe from yourselves does always help us out here. But for now, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you on the next one. Take it easy, and goodbye for now.